What is going on, lads? Daybreaker Deluxe Edition. We have already posted the Hollow Crown reaction on YouTube as a highlight video. Lost Forever, Lost Together, All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us, Holy Hell, they all exist on YouTube at the moment, as well as Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit, Nightmares, Ruin, they're on Patreon. Hollow Crown is a highlight video on YouTube. That would have been my last video. The Here and Now, Patreon. Daybreaker, we're about to get into that right now. It's going to be a highlight video. If you want to get access to the full thing, that is also my Patreon. For those that wish to exist, is going to be coming in the next Architects album reaction, hopefully before Friday when the new album drops, and the Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit is also on YouTube for you guys to get. So if you want to support me in any way, shape or form, patreon.com/DrewFortune, all the links are in the description. I really appreciate it. Otherwise, enjoy this one, lads. I'll see you later. Cheers. Fun fact, 77% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. That number is absurdly high. YouTube's recommended is so good nowadays that you don't really need to click the subscribe button, but it does really help channels out a lot. So if you are watching and you do enjoy my content regularly, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. Also, I did ask in my last video for people to like give me insight into like what the situation was with Tom at this point, but I haven't put that video out yet, so I'm gonna lose my mind. Focus on me, you dickhead. This is the first album so far that they haven't just gotten straight into chaos, which I appreciate. It has an Interstellar vibe to it. That like droning it reminds me of the Interstellar soundtrack. Very nice. Not what I was expecting at all. Okay, interesting that they're kind of like building again. Alpha Omega, is this a Periphery reference? Could be. I know a lot of these bands in the earlier days. Oh yeah, don't make me start. Yeah. Even the way they kind of like, they end on that open string, open low string is such a iconic thing that Architects do. That's the first proper bleh, I think, from Architects.
You fucking pigs!
Nice. There's something so captivating about the anti-establishment lyricism in Architects music. I love it. Some tap and lead work from Tom? Not something I've heard much of. It seems like it's a good blend of everything we've heard prior and the albums that follow this. It kind of feels like a good blend of all of that so far. But nothing's like really grabbing me just yet, which is odd. That section was a little bit jarring. Like the tempo of the drums was so fast, and then Sam was kind of like lagging behind it, it felt. I know it's a stylistic choice, but it just didn't sound great to me. Even if you win, you're still a rat. Cheers, lads. Jesus. Alright, lads, rub it in. Fuck me. I'm gonna be fucking depressed coming out of this. Your life is ending 1 minute at a time. Jesus. I'm trying to fucking enjoy this album here, lads. Great insight.
Close my eyes, I take a deep breath, try to find my place in life. Taking time into the hand of fate, so inhuman I'm surprised to play. Chronic time, blinded for life, flip the switch and track back.
Who the fuck is this? That's not Sam, is it? I hit the play again. But I don't think it was Sam. Ah, it's Drew York from Straight from the Path. I knew I recognized it. That main riff is filth. The like palm muted start to each bar, it makes it so fucking bouncy. It's almost impossible to like dig too deep into these lyrics without getting quite political, so I will avoid doing so because I'm just here for the fucking tunes. But quite ahead of their time in terms of the lyrical content. I'm loving the inclusion of the piano in the last two songs. Sounds amazing. Yeah. Or Sam will get uber cancelled if you release this today. I've sort of made up my mind on this album already. Just from what I've heard, I don't know if there's gonna be enough to sway me back into like thinking this is one of their top tier albums. But I look forward to being able to do like some content around the best Architects albums and the best songs. I can imagine the metal gatekeepers were so pissed off with this song. I can only fucking imagine. Holy shit. Why don't you just not focus on what I wanted to fucking focus on now? Of course. Of fucking course. Lyrically, again, very, very captivating stuff. However, an interesting choice to have a song like that, like 4 songs after Behind the Throne. But again, it's a different direction. We've seen every album kind of do something noticeably different to the last that changes the trajectory of the band. Riff of the album, thank you, sir. Riff of the album, locked in. this is gonna drop so hard. Oh, no. Oh, they're edging me so hard. They're still building. Oh my goodness. Oh, they're not. It's over. They're going ethereal. This is all our gods have abandoned us coded. Jesus, man. After hearing the lyrical content of this for like 40 or so minutes, it's fucking no wonder they wanted to update their sound and go a little bit more fun because this is so depressing. Okay, so technically the album, the original album when it was released in its initial form and its intended form, it actually ended at Unbeliever. That was the outro track. And these are like reissue versions, I believe. So I can see that there's like different reissue versions, which is kind of weird. Okay. I'm at that point of the album where I'm kind of just ready for it to be wrapped up. Granted, these are additional bonus tracks, but if anything, the longer this goes on now, it feels like it's just taken away from the experience for me. These tracks are so different to anything on the album. They feel out of place. Fuck, I never thought I'd actually be dying for an Architects album to end. But here we are. It's lost me. Man, I did not expect it from this album. It's because this is notably the longest album of the last few we've done. Musically, it's closer to what I like with Architects, but because it goes on for so long, but it's not also not quite there with their later albums. That pretty much wraps up the discography, man. I mean, I'm going to try and get to For Those That Wish to Exist, which you can see down here. I'm gonna whoa, chill out, man, chill out. Don't make me listen to the whole All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us album, because once that starts, it's gonna be hard to stop. But I'm gonna go and check out this album, I think, before the next album comes out. Let me just confirm the name: The Sky, the Earth, and All Between. I think this is gonna be a huge album for Architects. I mean, the singles, as you can see from their popular tracks, are already like all taking up their top 5 most popular tracks. So they're clearly doing very, very well. But it's going to be very interesting to see how the album is received when it's dropped. But like I said at the start, Sam just, it feels like Sam doesn't fully found his voice. It may not be a confidence thing. I'm not trying to say like, oh, Sam just wasn't confident at the time, but it just doesn't sound like he's found his voice yet. Maybe it's like one of these things that he's just new to the whole singing thing, and they really lean into it in this album. From a like instrumental standpoint and like the production and the overall mix and stuff, it sounds very similar to something off of All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us. But a lot of those tracks that were like the more emotional, nihilistic takes and the real emotional, like, you know, eerie, atmospheric tracks on this album feel like they could be like B-side to All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us. Just the order in which you actually listen to their discography, I think, is very relevant as well. I've listened to some of their more popular albums from later in the discography, and now I'm going back, and I understand that some people that maybe would have listened to these when they first dropped would have completely different opinions, and that's completely fine, and I'll touch on that a little bit more towards the end. So this is definitely the first album from the discography that has that very like defined emotional, atmospheric moments where it's, like I've said, it's just Sam singing. It's really digging into that like nihilistic, introspective lyricism, that like politically driven lyricism that has become so famously Architects in the later albums. After hearing the lyrical content, it's no wonder they wanted to update their sound. Honestly, like I keep mentioning, the later albums are so densely, they're just so heavy lyrically. Like, it's all about this, like, the world is fucking, it's fucked. You know, when you're born into this world, everything is already against you. The people in power have, you know, they hold all the cards. You're essentially fucked. It's very dense lyrically. And then obviously the band goes on to have the tragedy of Tom Searle passing away, and it gets even more depressing because now not only are they already really nihilistic, they now have like this trauma that they're carrying with them that they're now singing about as well. So it just becomes very, very dark and depressing. You know, this is again why I wanted more context with the band, because, you know, when I hear the band and I hear Sam in interviews, he seems like such a lovely guy and such a likable guy, and I really want to support everything they're doing because I really like him. I feel like I could have a pint with Sam and he'd just be one of the lads. Like he loves football. I don't really love football, but like he just seems like a good bloke, you know, a proper geezer. Cringe. You get the point. I'm sure you guys, if you've seen interviews with Sam and shit, you'll get what I'm coming from. You know, I never wanted to shit on architects in the first place, or I never wanted to not like their newer stuff, but I always wanted to be honest when I listened to their music. They're pretty upfront about the classic symptoms of a broken spirit being an album that they're not really the most proud of. They obviously really tried to lean into that like Bring Me the Horizon style and lean like away from all of the real like nihilistic, depressing lyricism, which I completely get. Imagine touring these songs for years and rehearsing these songs and thinking about the lyrics for these songs. It's got to have an effect on your personal life when you're constantly thinking about all these dark, depressing thoughts, and it becomes a part of your identity almost. So have a little bit more fun with the songs. I know the songs aren't like completely happy-go-lucky anymore. Like it's not like they've just turned into a completely like piss-take band, but they're definitely not as dark as they used to be. This is definitely one of those albums that's hard to critique because it's definitely like popular amongst the diehards and the people that have been around listening to this band for a long time. So me sitting here and saying anything like negative about the album is like, it's hard to be objective about it because there's so many people that have like such subjective opinions of this album that have been with them for like 10 plus years. They listened to this album maybe when it dropped and fell in love with it. And I completely get it. People have their biases and like there's an emotional connection that's very hard to separate people from. I'm the same with certain albums, so I get it. Trying to like see an objective opinion from someone else who maybe isn't as inclined to like that particular sound is always a tough pill to swallow because you're like, no, this is my album. But that's kind of where I'm at with this. A lot of people have been like hyping this album up, can sometimes take away from the overall experience because you're expecting the best thing in the world, especially with the albums that follow this. But I'm coming in from a completely different perspective. Does it mean it's a bad album? Absolutely not. Not at all. But I think most people, for the most part, are usually pretty cool with these things. You know, they're like, as long as you have some reasoning behind maybe why you don't like it or why you're not clicking with it, or you can actually just explain yourself other than just saying like, I don't like this. I think people are generally pretty cool. So I hope you understand the perspective that I'm coming from and the context that I've given myself with the way in which I've listened to their discography. I started with their more modern stuff, which I really loved. Then I listened to a few of the modern tracks, a few of the singles, and people were like, oh, you really like Architects, you should check out their better albums. Lost Forever, Lost Together, Holy Hell, All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us. I did all those, dug into the band's history, found out all about Tom and the trauma and all of the emotional stuff that came with that. Fell in love with that side of the story. It really made the albums hit home. Then I was like, okay, new singles are dropping. Wasn't really fucking with them. I was kind of jumping on board the bandwagon of like, fuck this band, go back to All Our Gods. But hearing all of this, their whole discography up to this point, I'm kind of just like, do you know what? Do your thing, lads. I don't think it's a bad album by any stretch, but I don't think it's a top 5 Architects album for me. I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for the support as always. And I'm going to go and have some breakfast. So I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.